Everyone. My name is Emily Baker. I'm a MAPS executive coach here with my partner, Erin Simons, and we're going to have fun today going through the pathway to 100 listings. Before we get started, that number can seem pretty big, right? 100 listings. How do I close 100 in a year? And yet Erin and I have both achieved this number. So everything that we're going to give you today is very strategic, very simple, a little bit of math, which I know is all of our favorites, right? But it's definitely doable because Erin, wouldn't you agree that there's no better time to focus on listings than right now?
I mean, with everything going on in the industry, there's never been a better time to be focused on listings. And what you're going to get today is the pathway. It's not the systems, it's not the models, it's not the dialogues, right? For that, we have the course, the Mega Listing Agent, which we would love for you to sign up for, right? During or at the end. But let's just be clear. We're giving you a taste of what the pathway looks like, right? And in our program, Emily, we spend 9 weeks getting into the details on exactly how to implement what we're going to talk about today, correct?
That's exactly right. All right, so let's dive in, Erin. So first off, we're going to go through this and, like I said, a little bit of math, but very simple and strategic. So the first place to start is your database. Okay. So if you want to make your data bank into your database into your database, we want to look at what's the maximum conversion rate that we can get typically from people that know us, like us, trust us, that we strategically communicate to. So 38 of those closings should be from your Met database. So in order to get 38, you would have to have 380 people that know you, like you, and trust you, that you're strategically and consistently communicating to in the database. So if you don't have 380 Mets, as we call them, people that know, like, and trust you, that's your first step. Building your database. Now, most of us have, Erin, what would you say? How many people are we connected typically on social media?
500 is the average number.
Yeah, 500, right? So you go to your social media pages, look at who your connections are. Are those people inside of your database? And the best database is always the one that you use, right?
Yeah, and Emily, 500 is usually average when I look at someone's social media page. And then when we actually look at the contacts in their phone, it's about 1,000. And yet, when you look at their holiday card list that they mail holiday cards to, they only have like 200 people on it because they just haven't done a great job of really taking who they truly are connected to and putting it in their CRM so that they have enough to achieve the goal.
That's exactly right. So if you're strategically communicating with at minimum 36 touch points per year, and we say minimum because we have a lot of teams that communicate 72 times a year to people that know, like, and trust them. And yet at a minimum, you should receive about 51 referrals, right? From either repeat or referral business from that database.
Well, yes. And that 51 is just simply saying it's 38 divided by 75% is how we came up with that 51, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. Because you'll receive 51 of them, you'll convert and close 75% of them, which gives you 38.
That's exactly right. So what do you do to communicate? Well, we can call or text them quarterly, right? We utilize a model called DTD2. If you haven't heard of it, it's do the database 2. It's 2 letters per week over 13 weeks. So A and W, B and O, those kind of, just so it makes it simple for you. 2 emails per month. Value is in the perception of the recipient, right? So a lot of times we get stuck on the details of what would I send them? What would I say? Honestly, y'all, it really doesn't matter as long as you are touching them. Mind share leads to market share. Write that down. Mind share leads to market share. If you are not on their mind, you are not getting their market share. Okay. So whether that's a market update, whether that's listings, whether that's a home valuation, a strategic message, a newsletter, something that's happening in your community, an easy one would be We've got almost a holiday every single month, right? What's going on in your community? Mother's Day is right around the corner, right? So an easy tactic that you could do, or where should you be at Mother's Day in the Ozark area, right? Or whatever area that you're from.
You know what? I thought you were going to say Cinco de Mayo. We send out a Cinco de Mayo card every year. I didn't see Mother's Day coming, but Cinco de Mayo,
I'm a
the big
mom,
day.
Erin. So, direct mail, 6 pieces of direct mail. So, those could be a golden letter, which we'll get into here in a little bit, a MOFR, make offer for immediate response. That's really simple. That could be curious on what top dollar is in today's market for your property. Call today to find out. So, it's a clear, concise message that yields a response. You could send out holiday, personalized, or home anniversary, birthday cards, that kind of thing. 4 events per year. I'm all about working smarter versus harder. So I'm not about y'all hosting your own 4 events. You're not event planners, right? We're realtors. We are in this job to help people buy, sell, and invest in real estate. So you can tag on to something already happening in a community. So whether that's an event, like we have events that our chamber puts on all the time. There are races that are happening, right? You can do something charitable. You could also do a pop in or out. One of the most popular and common is Pi Day. So whether that's Thanksgiving or actual Pi Day, right, in March.
You might have to explain that one.
We all know that we don't like math, Erin. So,
All right.
and then, or an exclusive VIP event. And then you've got social media, right? So being consistent. The biggest thing that we see on social media is that we're typically seeing just listed, just sold, under contract. Erin, what's your advice for someone who is posting those on social media?
Yeah, by all means, you can keep posting those. They're not going to get people to call you. If you want people to reach out, start telling the story behind why your clients are moving. If they're downsizing, if they're helping a loved one transition, if they've inherited a property, the more you tell the story behind why they're moving, the more that people you're connected to will see themselves in that situation, because chances are they're dealing with it in their own lives, then that's what causes them to reach out. They see you as an expert. They see you as someone who's knowledgeable. They see it, they reach out. And Emily, I think it's important noting that when we look at these 5 ways to communicate with people in terms of calling or texting, emailing, direct mail, events, and social media, those are the only 5 ways that you can communicate with your database, correct?
That's exactly right.
That's it. Now, you're all going to have creativity on what you do. These are just some best practices, but we beg you to find a 6th. These are the 5 ways that you have to have dialed in.
That's exactly right. All right, let's go to the next one. Professional referrals. Erin, walk us through this.
Okay, guys, this is a passion. There are people out there in the world that have jobs that come into contact with people that have real estate needs on a regular basis. So it would probably behoove us to go get into relationship with some of these other professionals that are crossing paths with people that we can be helping. Now, the low-hanging fruit, I think, is this. We know that the population is aging. When we look out there right now, 75% of listings are coming from either a boomer downsizing, a senior transitioning, or families inheriting property. Now, who's on the front lines of those demographics? Who are those people calling before they call us to sell the house? Well, oftentimes it's the estate planning attorney, it's the CPA, and or it's their financial planner. They are on the front lines. So if we went and made a key decision to go get in a relationship with more of these guys and gals, there's a good chance that we could be having 2, 3, 4 referrals a month coming in as a result of these relationships. So what does this system look like? Well, let's go identify 20 of them, right? And it could be 20 attorneys, it could be 20 CPAs, it could be a mix. But the key is we have to have enough of them to find the ones that become great referral partners, correct? So
Yep.
go on Google, right? Estate planning attorney, CPA in your area, right? Create a hit list, I like to call it, of people you want to get in a relationship with. Send them the simple email that we're sharing here, being, again, TCPA, do not call compliant, of course, right? And then, again, this email, by the way, has a 3-to-1 response rate, meaning if you send that to 3 professionals, 1 will respond back saying, sure, let's meet. And then, of course, the goal is to share with them what you're seeing, how you can help. They're going to share with you what they're seeing. And now we have a referral partner that if we have enough of them, it will guarantee us a certain number of referrals that should end up in 20 closings per year. Anything you want to, by the way, Emily, I got one more. Well, actually, no. I'll leave it there. Let's just start with those. We don't want to overwhelm them out of the gate, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and this is the thing I really challenge you all to think about when we talk about sellers and we say find the motivated. A lot of people say, "Well, how do I know if they're motivated?" Well, they're not motivated or well, they don't have to sell. So, this tactic right here is finding people who have to sell. They don't have a choice. And that is it just goes back to the D's of real estate, right? Death, divorce, downsizing. This is where people are moving, and it's awesome to create these strategic partnerships with CPAs, estate attorneys, financial planners, because when we are the fiduciary and the economist of choice, we are there to educate our clients on one of the biggest financial decisions and assets that they have, right? And so we want to help them and establish these partnerships with protecting the assets and really planning.
Yeah, you know what? I have a client who I finally got to take action on this, Emily, last week. And she sent 10 emails. She scheduled 3 appointments. She's already had one of them. I talked to her earlier today. And the attorney said to her, I'm so glad you reached out. I don't have an agent that I refer business to. And we all sit here and assume that they probably do. The reality is they don't. So
Yeah,
there's so much
someone,
opportunity.
yeah, we had someone on our last launch that had a similar thing. He created relationships with like 4 or 5 people who didn't have real estate agents. So,
Yep.
all right, next one, golden letters. Okay, so this is just a fancy title for a pretty generic letter. A golden letter is, as you'll see the message, Dear blank, would you be interested in selling your home at blank to a client of mine? If so, please call me at, and it's your phone number. You wet sign it, you hand address the envelope. You can do this in-house. You can have a company like Ballpoint Marketing handle this for you, depending on your cost here. But this is pretty simple and pretty strategic. So for those of you who maybe you want to increase your average price point, maybe you have quite a few active buyers and you're in the inventory trap of there is none, and you don't know what to do or how to find them a property. Maybe it's that you have a listing and it goes under contract and it gets multiple offers, or you have over 15 showings on it and you're like, wow, there's a lot of buyers who are looking for a home just like this. So you can pull expired listings and send this to them. You can geographically target based on neighborhood, community, buyer needs, and export the information. So what we find is, oh, go ahead, Aaron.
No, keep going. Keep going.
Okay. So what we find is that typically 1 to 2% of the people that you send the letter to will respond. Now, here's the thing to notate. We, on all of these numbers, are being very conservative. Okay. I'll give you an example. I had a client who sent a batch of 25 of these on one street. Okay. All high-end properties. She was able not only to get 4 responses from one street, all over $1 million price point, she was able to secure 2 listings, and her buyer actually bought one of them. So these numbers are very conservative.
Well, and here's the thing. If you don't want to call sellers and you want sellers calling you, then run the system. And when you do the math on it, so on that third bullet point, 1 to 2% response rate. So let's just use 1%, Emily. Let's just be very conservative. And if I went and I I sent 500 letters a month. That means I'm averaging 5 sellers calling me each month. That's 60 sellers calling me a year. And the way we came up with 14 is if 60 are calling me, is it likely that 25% are probably going to convert into business? 1,000% likely. They called you. right? So that's where we're being conservative because guess what? It might be more than 1% and your conversion might be better than 25%. And if we just look at the cost of this real quick, right? The cost of sending a letter, we know what is postage now? Is it 61 cents?
Yeah, around that.
Yeah, it's like 60 or whatever it is. And then if you assume a letter, ink, paper make up another 13, 14 cents, let's just say it's 75 cents to send 500 letters. And you do it yourself. Because by the way, you can do in an hour about 30 to 50 letters, right? If
Yep.
you hand address it. So this is not something that takes a long time, right? Yet, if it's 75 cents a letter and you send 500 a month, that's $375 a month invested into it, right? For 5 leads coming back, that's $75 per lead. Do you know how much Zillow would sell that lead to you for? In my market, $800. In your market, Emily, like $400.
Yeah.
No, I mean, so the point is, you can generate that lead so inexpensively, right? And just using an hour a day on the system, I can't say enough about the golden letter.
Yeah, I completely agree. Huge opportunity. All right, next, expired listings. So this is
Hold on,
what?
hold on. When you say expired, like what this is like people immediately like they zone out on this one because they think it's one way and one way only, correct?
Yep, that's exactly right. So just remember, everything we go over in our course all fall into 4 ways of communication. Now, yes, you have social media, but I'm going to put social media in with digital. So you've got digital, right? You have print, you have face-to-face, or you have voice-to-voice. So we give you a model for each of those so you can just pick it up and go. And expireds are such an opportunity because a lot of times people are like, I'm never going to cold call. I'm never going to call an expired. Great. If you're really great at social media, find them on Facebook and direct message them. If you're really great at being consistent with mailers, send them a mailer. They will respond. Different people respond to different forms of communication. So expireds are a huge opportunity. And in most of our markets, are we seeing more expireds?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're seeing an increase because I call it the pricing trap. But what typically happens is that agents price the properties wrong because we were in a really great market and it was a speed market, not a skill market, right? So we had some pricing issues, as I'm sure some of you have seen, or some unrealistic sellers, and they're expiring. So it's a huge opportunity and definitely a point of the market right now. So if you were to go on 32 appointments, have a 50% conversion of attended the listing, 75% to list a close. Because again, if it's priced right, will it sell?
Always.
Yes. So 75%, again, we're really, really being conservative here. We're saying you go on 32 appointments and only half of them list with you because they're going to choose to hire you and you're going to choose to hire them as well. Are they realistic? Are they motivated to get the property sold? Right. And then 75%, and that would be 12. Now, the opportunity here is huge.
And how many people do you think are actually out there knocking on the door of someone's home that expired?
Not enough.
No, how about, well, I shouldn't talk in absolutes, but like 99.9% of the time, nobody knocks on their door and has a face-to-face conversation with them.
Yeah, and if you're bold and you love door knocking, man, do we have the conversation for you there. I mean, we make it really simple. And the thing is that there's a lot of opportunity because you know what's also gold right now when it comes to expireds, y'all? It's not even the new expireds, okay? It's the past expireds. It's the people who expired 6 to 9 months ago that didn't sell because 6 to 9 months ago, we were headed into a holiday season, right? Or what most people believe to be a slower market, winter, right? And they pulled it off and they're like, oh, we'll wait till after the first year, see what the market does. This is now the time. I can't tell you how many clients I have that are just absolutely killing it with those past expireds right now because no one's calling them. No one's
Yeah.
having the conversations.
Yeah, and what I want everyone to hear is, like I said at the beginning, the minute you said expired, people automatically go to, I don't want to pick up the phone and call them. And yet, don't. Like, what we want you to hear is that we can go door to door, we can do a direct mail campaign, we can find them digitally on social media. It doesn't have to be that old, lead gen is not all over the phone.
That's right.
Right? And yet, if we just think about that, it's like, oh my gosh, I just went from not liking expireds and in the past having said, I'm never going to do that, to now all of a sudden, I can't wait to create a direct mail campaign. We have one created for you in the course. I can't wait to implement a direct mail campaign that's going to cause them to call me.
Yep.
Okay, sign me up for that.
Exactly. And the texters of the group, who are my people who prefer texting over calling?
Who's under the age of 45? No, I'm just kidding.
The people who love to text. I'm telling you, we've got text templates that I actually have someone that does the data on this, and they're getting over a 50% response rate from the first initial text.
TCPA do not call compliant. Listen, I've got a client who moved all of his over-the-phone lead gen to text-based lead gen, and their results went up fourfold. It was amazing. Yeah, it's a sign of the times.
That's right. All right. And last but not least, 8 closings from third-party lead aggregators. What's a third-party lead aggregator, Aaron?
Zillow, Dave Ramsey, Homelight, any of these, whether you pay upfront or whether you pay a referral fee, any of these third party that provide leads is a third party lead aggregator. And if you hit that QR code, Jason Abrams has put together a list of like 200 of them. If you're curious who they all are, Agent Pronto, there's so many of them. And here's what we say. There's no shame in this game, is there, Emily?
No, sign up for them all if they're free.
That's right. And listen, if you could just get 32 opportunities from the lead aggregators, 2.5, 3 a month, and you have a 25% lead to close conversion, that's 8 closings. And not all of them, like I said, some of them you pay upfront a nominal fee. Many of them you're paying a referral fee on the back end. So for a lot of these third-party lead aggregators, it's a zero-cost marketing effort for you guys.
That's exactly right.
Yes, Michelle, it's worth paying the referral fee. Why not?
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, Michelle, the thing about paying the referral fee is, yes, it's the first one, but what we want you to look at is based on our strategic marketing plan that we go over in our course, and what we find, we see that you can replace your listing with another listing. So you're going to get another listing from your listing through the strategic marketing. Now, again, it's all about execution, right? There is no magic, serum that's going to be like, oh, I just sell all these houses, right? You're going to have to execute. But we are all about working smarter versus harder, and working where it's in your energy zone, where it gives you energy. You'll do it consistently and you'll be excited about it. And that's where you're going to get additional business, and you're going to get a referral because you're going to ask for a referral. And we're going to go through how that works when you create a 5-star experience to your clients.
Yeah. And so, Emily, here's the reality. I don't think anyone's going to get off of this Zoom and all of a sudden magically gravitate towards implementing, these 5 models that we talked about here. And the point of this Zoom wasn't so much that as it was just to create awareness around what is possible. And so again, what we do in the Mega Listing Agent program on the next slide is we take that deep dive, because what we know is you guys are smart. You can see all of this in the MREA. You probably already know this. Yet what are the specific systems, right, that we can implement and follow? Like you said, what's the model? And more importantly, what's now the dialogue that goes along with all of this stuff that's going to cause us to have success? That's where we want to partner with you so that you can actually implement these 5 models.
Yep, that's exactly right. So we've got our, if we'll go to the next slide, please, and thank you. We've got sign sellers now on May 8th, which is next Wednesday. Our times are always Wednesdays at 1:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's what we have for y'all. And list to last. So go ahead if you're not registered for those, sign up for those. Those are going to be really good. Sign sellers now, honestly, is 100% the conversation that needs to be had. It's really, there's a lot of sellers that are uncertain. Are you all hearing that out there? That sellers are uncertain of what's happening with the market, with the economy? Is now the time? Can I get the price that I want? How do I know? Should I wait? There's nothing on the market. We're going to go through our facts trump feelings, which we're going to give you slides to present to sellers to show them specifically, not based on feeling, not based on your opinion, because let's be real, our opinions don't matter, but based on facts on how to convert them. Thank you, Hannah. Hannah put both of those in the chat for y'all as well to sign up for, and then list to last, going through competitive market values and how to get sellers to increase your held to signed conversion rate. If we'll go to the next slide, mega listing agent. So we launch June 12th. It is a 9-week course, 9 weeks, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All sessions are recorded. You have access to those recordings throughout the entire course, as well as 60 days post. It's $500. If you took one listing based on the average listing GCI in the nation, that would be a 7-to-1 return on investment, a 7-to-1. Gary Keller tells us that anything above a 4-to-1 is a no-brainer. So we would love to partner with you all, like I said, on this time where there's really no other conversation. Like, we can't control NAR, we can't control all of the noise that's happening in our industry. What we can do is we can control our actions and our growth around being the best economist of choice in this market, and listings lead to additional business.
And you know what else? We can't control human nature. We know that we work best with a partner. I know that if I have my trainer at the gym, I'm actually going to go to the gym and do what I need to do. Left to our own devices, this is just going to end up on the shelf somewhere as good information. And so being able to spend 9 weeks where we're diving deep as your partner, implementing, helping you implement, correcting as you implement through the process, that's the key to getting in action. So that to me is what I'm passionate about, is not just getting great information, but actually implementing it so you get results. Because the last thing we want is for anyone to spend 9 weeks with us and not have gotten results. That would be a shame. And we just won't stand for that. Right, Emily?
That's exactly right. Awesome, y'all. Well, I trust that this was helpful and you have your numbers and sources, the top 5 sources to focus on for listings now and your path to 100. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Erin and I directly. Outside of that, we will look forward to seeing you May 8th, June 5th, and when we launch on the 12th.
See you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.